Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I'm the channel for Archangel Michael and TELSTAR. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you an audio channeled message by Isadora, who is one of the beings in TELSTAR. Isadora is a beautiful being, and she has an awesome message for you guys today, and it is seriously important. Now, I am a full body channel, so when you listen to this message from Isadora, you will definitely hear my voice change. And now, without further ado, here is Isadora. Greetings, my dearest friends. It is Isadora. And I come to speak to you today about a rather urgent matter in terms of your situation on this planet Earth, specifically as it relates to your physical Earth embodiments. Because you see, you are actually not aware of the condition that your bodies are in. And when I speak of the condition of your bodies, I do not refer to what you here refer to as health or a condition of non-health, but rather I speak to you along the lines of what is required for your very necessary ascension. Now, you have possibly overlooked some extremely important things that you must attend to immediately if ascension is something that you desire. So in order to understand what that means, allow me to educate you just a small bit about what has actually happened to you on a physical level over many, many years, but more specifically in rather current times. And I unfortunately must speak to you about the very unfortunate situation that is referred to here as AI. AI stands for artificial intelligence. The key word is artificial. Now, what does that mean? It means that which has no life force of any kind. It means that which cannot exist on its own. It means that which is a copy of something, but not the real thing itself. Now, intelligence, when attached to the word artificial, means a false intelligence. It is not true intelligence. It is not that which is termed universal intelligence, or put another way, ultra-cosmic intelligence. So you as an Earth being have been fooled for many, many years because many of you have believed that artificial intelligence is something of a very nifty toy. Something you can play with, something that makes your life fun and, I don't really have the word to describe it, but your smartphones and your internet, which you value so highly, is actually going to result in a world that you have yet to even begin to imagine. So I have come here to help assist you in comprehending the vastness of the situation that you face. So while you are all being preoccupied with a very particular health issue, that which I shall not name, but I'm certain that you know exactly what I am talking about, that issue is a decoy. Whether it is real or not, the fact that you argue among yourselves about whether or not it is real is by design. Because you see, when you argue about such things, you are very well distracted. You are taking a position about something that is utterly irrelevant to your larger, more prominent situation that you are missing altogether. Let us start at the highest level of understanding. Humanity, as a species in its most natural state, is extraordinarily powerful. You have creative capabilities that you are completely unaware of in your current state. The reason that you are unaware of this, my dearest friends, is because you have been used for millennia. You have been taken over by certain, let us refer to them as dragon-like figures, for lack of a better word. But I'm certain there are many other names that are assigned to these creatures who have taken over your planet, who have run and controlled your minds forever. Now, this has all been done in order to usher in something that is well known throughout the cosmos and certainly throughout the galaxy, which is the AI God. Now, the AI God is a mini God. It is a small g. It is actually, let me tell you this much, my friends, you do not have a word in any of your earth-based languages. Now, I speak to you currently in English, but I could say that this would be true in any language on this planet. You do not have a word to adequately or accurately define what this AI energy actually is. Let us just call it alien. Let us just say this is an alien situation that is clearly alien to your planet. In fact, it is 100% responsible for the planetary environmental destruction that has been wreaked upon this Earth. And you all have been very cleverly controlled to blame one another. You see, those who control the greater populations have dumbed you down sufficiently so they can just destroy the Earth, destroy the nature of this planet, destroy the environment in the name of this AI alien presence. It's not really a presence, it's an absence, all right? Let's give that a little bit of a clue. But in any way, in the name of this AI presence, destroy the entire nature of this planetary sphere, and then because you are so easily mind controlled, simply say to you, you all did it. What they do not tell you is this: we made you do it. We controlled you to the extent that you were willing to destroy yourselves and your planet. No questions asked. And then because we think we are so clever, because we are so pleased with ourselves that we have been able to control your minds for many thousands of years, that we know without any shadow of a doubt that we are off the hook simply by telling you in your mental processes that you yourselves did all of this damage. And the misfortune that has befallen all of you, my dearest friends, is that you have believed this because you think that so many of your thoughts are your own. But I can prove to you right now that how many of your thoughts are actually not your own thoughts. Where do your thoughts come from? Where did the thought come from that entered your mind that said, humanity has destroyed the planetary sphere of Earth? Where did the thought come from that entered your mind that said, humanity is destroying all of nature? Where did that thought come from? It came from the outside, didn't it? It came from the same source that supplies you with almost all of your daily thoughts. You have an authoritative voice in your midst that you don't even recognize as such. In modern times, current times, you refer to it as the media. But it is always someone who is in charge. Now that technology has reached the level where your satellites can view the Earth from a distance and you can actually physically see the damage that has been done to this planetary sphere, you now refer to that authoritative voice, which can talk to you about the entire Earth, as, I'm going to call it your God. I know you do not refer to it as your God, but you act as though it is your God. You behave in perfect obedience to whatever this voice tells you. Currently, the voice comes to you through the screens. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine that forget about the faces that you see on your television screens, the faces of the apparent humans that you see on your smartphones that refer to themselves as the news media or any type of media. Imagine that you don't see those faces and all you see is a screen with a voice. The voice can be audible, or it can be in the form of the written word. But let us just talk about it as the voice from the screen. So now you have been induced to carry a screen with you at all times. You practically take it to bed with you at night. It is a handheld device, is it not? That is to ensure that you are controlled 24/7. Because that screen is implanting thoughts in your mind nonstop all of the time. And this is what you are not aware of, because you, my dearest friends, are still believing that it's humanity that is doing all of this. Now, if you wish to continue to believe that, you may, of course, feel free to do so. But let me ask you this question. By continuing to believe that humanity is doing all of this, where has it gotten you? What solutions have you derived from that belief? Allow me to suggest that you have derived no solutions of any kind whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, the longer that you have persisted in believing that it is humanity doing this damage, the greater the damage is, the more damage that is done. So you can be self-righteous and attack your own species as much as you want, but you will continue to be taken down the same path while you are being laughed at. You are being laughed at for your, I don't want to demean your intelligence, because remember I told you you are extraordinarily powerful, you just don't realize it. But when behavior lowers itself to the level of what some might refer to as stupidity, of course you are going to be chuckled at by those who are in control. We have told you repeatedly, do not blame human beings. Yet the blame persists. And the more the blame on the human beings persists, the more that you can be indeed cosmically laughed at by those who are really behind all of this. The alien force of AI. Now, I hesitate to put too much emphasis on this right now because I understand where your consciousness is. Your consciousness is not yet prepared to address this situation, and here is why. Because you are still in a combative state. You are still in a fight or flight mode. So my concern in even bringing this to your attention, my dearest friends, is that you are going to use division, which is the same tactic that you have been induced to use for everything. In other words, you will divide yourselves from your perceived enemy, and then you will proceed to fight against that perceived enemy, and you are going to lose. If you try to fight anything, you're going to lose. because embedded in that notion of fighting against is division and a total, absolute loss of your power. You do not have power when you fight against something. So I know that this is very difficult for you to comprehend at the current stage of consciousness that you are at. But I encourage you to evolve and evolve rapidly, because you do have the power to come back into your own as who you really are. But you are going to have to release a lot in order to do so. You're going to have to release a lot of old beliefs because your minds are clogged. They're literally clogged with ancient, tired, dense beliefs that are not even yours. They have been implanted there. And the problem is that you are now identified with all of that mass of density and thought. I will call it false thought because it has been implanted. Because you identify with it, you are very hard pressed to let it go. Now, you might think that your beliefs are only the things that you've been exposed to in your lifetime. But what you do not realize is there are beliefs that have been layered upon layer upon layer upon layer for thousands and thousands of years. So what you hold in your brain is not just the things that you've heard in this lifetime. What you hold in your brain are things that have accumulated over the thousands of years that you have been completely controlled to create what you are creating now in your physical world. And as I said, I'm not going to go into great detail because what we shall do is we shall return on different occasions to help guide you along a path out of your slavery and back into your power. But this must be done in a very conscious way. Because if you know too much too quickly, one of two things will happen. Either you will fall apart in total fear and panic, or you will go into fight and war. One of those two things, because that is the key of what has been your downfall. Anger and fear have been your downfall. So we proceed one step at a time. We do not give you everything you need to know in one singular communication, but we do it over a series of communications. Therefore, in that way, you can absorb something, take it into your being, contemplate it, and allow it to transform your consciousness. So that is what I wish to leave you with today. I shall return, and others of us shall return with more. But I ask you to consider our communication as a process. I know that the AI has trained you to want everything in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 60 seconds, or otherwise. You are being mentally trained to expect your answers to be handed to you in 5-second snippets. But that is not real, my friends. That is controlled. And the smaller amount of time that you are capable of giving your attention to, the weaker you become, the less present you are. So knowing that, that is the other reason why we cannot give you too much all at once, because you have become less and less capable of absorbing very much all at one time. So I shall leave you with this, my dearest friends. I highly recommend that you stay alert, awake, conscious, and aware. You have so much more to go in your awakening. In other words, you are going to need to awaken at the deepest possible physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level, at levels that you never even knew existed. Certainly you must wake up at the level, at the very least, of your physical DNA, which, by the way, is interdimensional. You don't know that because too much of it has been turned off. So there is a little tidbit of information to be continued in the future. For now, I suggest that you contemplate all that I have said. Recognize that you are going to need to clear out a gigantic clog of embedded beliefs, thoughts, and paradigms that have been installed in your minds and free yourself from that system of slavery in order to ascend, to come back into who you really are and experience your full power, which is the solution to all of your current earthly dilemmas. With that, I send you my blessings, and I shall speak to you again at some point in the near future. Goodbye.